Welcome back, War Dolls. This is Steph.
And this is Cami.
We're here with another exciting episode of the War Dolls podcast, where we put the spotlight on the amazing women in our community.
Today we have fellow war doll Skye. Skye is a miniature painter and a gamer. Skye, welcome to the War Dolls podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're glad you're here.
Skye, tell us a bit about yourself, how you got started in the hobby, and how you found the War Dolls.
So, my partner has been very big into Warhammer for a fair few years. He grew up with the video games and listening to the lore, but he never actually got into the hobby side of things. And he introduced me to the big world of Warhammer in 2022, so not that long ago. And I wasn't honestly that interested. I thought it was very cool, but then he showed me miniature painting, and I was like, you can paint the little plastic things? That's amazing. And I went all in after that. We actually surprised each other that Christmas with our first box of miniatures each. I got
Aw.
him, yeah, right. It was so cute. I got him some Space Marine, of course, and he got me my first box of orcs.
Orcs are the best.
I love my orcs. They are one of my favorite things to go back to. Um, yeah, and I found the War Dolls through Lila. She recommended me the group after I reached out to her on Instagram. Um, I hadn't come across many women in the hobby, unfortunately, at the time, and I was feeling a little lonely, you could say. It's I've met plenty of lovely men in the hobby, and it's just a little different, you know. I just
Absolutely.
wanted, yeah, I just wanted to be able to talk to some fellow women about painting and the hobby side of things. So it was very cool finding you guys.
Well, we're so glad to have you. And that is Lila Mev, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
she's got a good community and a great YouTube channel.
I love her YouTube channel. I found her through her YouTube channel, and she did a video with Tabletop Time with Jen, along with, I think Louise was also on there. Um, and yeah, they were both talking about women in the hobby. So I found her Instagram and reached out to her, and she was very welcoming. It was really nice.
That's awesome. With your background in traditional art, how does that affect your painting hobby? And what are some of the advantages or disadvantages in having that traditional art background?
Well, I've worked as a professional pencil artist for about 8 years now, as well as I used to teach paint and sip classes. So I feel like a lot of the techniques I've learnt from my traditional art background, they've been very useful, but there is quite a lot of them that you're actually told not to do in miniature painting, which feels a little backward to me. So I feel like I'm relearning how to paint, which is a bit strange. For example, adding texture to your models. You hear that a lot, that it's a big no-no. Like lots of people like their smooth, perfect paint jobs.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the type of surface that you're trying to paint. If you're trying to paint really smooth armor, or if you're painting clothing, do you want it to have a little bit of texture, or are you doing like a leather jacket that needs to have a completely different texture? So,
Yeah, exactly. I think it can really add to your model a if you're smart about where you're putting your texture, it can really add some realism to your model and some interest, which is really cool.
so tell us a little bit more about your your the pencil drawings that you do for like your professional drawings. That's really cool.
Oh, thank you. I I've been drawing for a majority of my life, but I only in about the last 8 years I've tried to turn it into more of a business for myself. Um, I do a lot of commission drawings, which are usually pet portraits. Love drawing
Oh.
animals. It's definitely one of my passions. I'm currently drawing this cute little sausage dog. Um, it's very cute. It is a surprise commission for someone, so I won't say too much on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something I love, and I would love in the future to get into doing some Warhammer themed drawings. That would be really fun. I'm yet to do any, but if anyone has any ideas of subject matters, that would be really fun.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how often, you have conventions in Australia, but there might be like a vendor opportunity. Like if you went to any kind of convention, you could definitely sell prints of your drawings. That would probably go over well.
Squigs. You could draw some squigs.
Oh, I love squigs. That would be so
Everybody loves
fun.
squigs.
That that is definitely one of the reasons why I must have orcs. I must have them. Look at those funny little squigs. I love
Mm-hmm.
them so much.
They are fantastic.
Yeah, that would be super fun. I definitely like the more cutesy things. I love squigs. I'd love to draw a griffhound. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, that would be really, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, they're definitely one of my favorite things to paint. So it'd be really cool to draw a few.
I've seen your Griffhounds on your Instagram. They do look really great.
Oh, thank
You
you.
do a good job with those.
I have quite a lot more to paint as well. um, got a few of the larger ones like the Griff Stalker. Um, and I'm very keen to get into those. I haven't made it there yet, but they are on the list soon.
So, Skye, what would you say your style is when it comes to miniature painting?
I would say I definitely lean as far away from the box art as I possibly can. I I like very vibrant, um, very bright color schemes. Even when I'm painting something more grim dark, I just can't help myself. I have to put in those super bright highlights somewhere, even if it's just like on the inside of a cape, just make sure it's really vibrant and pops. Um, I just want to do something different and something fun, which usually is using as much color as possible. I also really like texture. I try to add a bit of texture onto pretty much all of my models. You can, especially on like wood, uh, the pants, things like that, like
Mm-hmm.
where I feel like naturally that's where you're gonna see it. I feel that gives my models a bit more realism. I don't I don't worry too much about keeping them super clean because I feel like that's going to take the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Plus, well, for me at least, I've kind of developed a style that I can paint quickly and it looks dirty and worn at the same time.
I love that.
Well, thank you. It's mostly born out of laziness. So don't be too impressed.
Well,
So
speed is something I definitely need to get better at. I'm quite a slow painter, unfortunately. I
no, no, no. Unfortunately, there's nothing wrong with painting slowly.
Yeah, I'm an impatient painter.
yeah.
And that's also valid. You paint at your own speed. You hobby how you want to hobby. I do enjoy painting, but I like rolling dice more. And I absolutely refuse to put unpainted minis on the table. So this is my curse and my blessing. So Skye, we briefly mentioned conventions over there in Australia. What's the hobby scene like over there? Painting, gaming, whatever you want to look at. Are there
So,
conventions over there?
yes, so we do get a couple conventions now, I think. I think we're starting to get more. The hobby scene's starting to get a bit bigger here, which is really good to see. It's kind of quiet, um, but I think that's mainly because we're such a big place and we're all so spread out. It can be really hard to find each other. I've found most of my Australian hobbyists through Instagram, which has been great. Um, have I met them in person? No, because there's still like that 2 hour or plus distance between us. It's quite hard to make plans, but uh, I do have two hobby stores that are nearby. One's about an hour away, and then one's the town over. And they're both lovely. They both have their benefits. The one in the town over, I like going there to have a chat with the owners. They're great, and they do hold gaming nights. I think over the weekend. I'm yet to go to any, but that would be really cool. And then about an hour away, we have Hobby Bastion, which is a bit bigger, and they do quite a few events. I did enter in their painting competition a few years ago, which was really fun. But yeah, I feel like we're still growing over here, and we're about to have Arc Fest in May, which is quite a big convention for Australia. It's going to be quite cool. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment.
Would you ever come to the States and go to Adepticon?
Oh, that would be a dream. That would be so fun. But yeah, that would be about like a year worth of saving to be able to afford
Yeah.
to for the flights and
Oh, yeah.
accommodation, everything. But maybe one day that would be a really cool goal. I'm yet to actually play a game of anything, which is really shocking. But I think that's also a reason why I don't go to local hobby events often because I'm a bit anxious about I don't know all the rules for my armies, and I've never actually sat down and played a game. I've played a few scenarios of Warcry and something else, maybe Kill Team, but haven't actually sat down and played a full game of anything yet.
And that's perfectly fine. If hobbying is more what you're into, then no need to rush getting into the gaming part of it.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely love the painting and hobbying side um, of miniatures. I do have a Warcry game set up on our dining room table, ready to go. It's been there for about 2 months. All the models are painted. It's super exciting, but we haven't really had the time yet to dedicate a few hours to play the game. But we should really do that soon. Hopefully soon. That'll be really fun.
Real life has a tendency to get in the way sometimes, and you just described someone with no cats.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave a game set up in my house for more than 20 minutes.
Oh, really? That bad?
Oh, it's bad.
Uh, my cat, she would rather be involved in something that I'm currently doing. If I leave something somewhere, she'll more than likely leave it alone. But if I was playing the game, that's when she'd want to be up on the table and knocking things over and causing chaos any way she could.
Aw.
She's sweet, but a handful.
Skye, if you could give a piece of advice to a new miniature painter, what advice would you give them?
I would say to not be intimidated. There's so many ways you can approach this hobby, and I don't think there's a right or wrong way to paint. I think it's more about finding your comfort zone, and it's fine to just stay in your comfort zone for as long as you need. That's fine. You don't need to push yourself to be doing crazy things like non-metallic metals and cross hatching and more advanced technique straight away. If you're just comfortable with things like slap chop, dry brushing, just like you just need to find your comfort zone, and that's what's going to make it enjoyable for you.
I love that.
That's good advice. Yeah, that's great. So, how do you get yourself in the mood to paint, um, and where do you find the inspiration for your colors? You said you like bright colors.
Yeah. Well, usually when I want to get into the painting mood, I will queue up a bunch of hobby related videos from YouTube. Um, that's normally my go-to to get some inspiration and to just get a bit of an idea of what I want to start with. But my color schemes, I I love color theory. It's one of my favorite things about art, and I use it quite a lot when I'm trying to figure out a new color scheme. Complementary colors is such a big thing to learn. Like, I think it's so beneficial to learn, whether it's just for miniature painting, that's fine. You don't need to go that hard into it as I have, but just getting yourself a little color wheel that you can get them for like $5. You could just Google it and get a picture up on your screen and have a look. Have a search for complementary colors. It's the easiest way to pick a color scheme that's going to look vibrant and a bit different from everyone else. I feel like a lot of people do box art, which is wonderful. It's box art for a reason because it's been thought out and well executed. But I find it really fun to branch out from that and do something that I haven't seen before. That's my main motivation is I want something I haven't seen before.
It makes total sense. So, do you get any inspiration outside of the hobby, or specifically, what about women outside of the hobby? You know, movie stars, celebrities.
Oh yeah. I Well, the cheesiest answer, of course, is my friends. I
That's not a
have
cheesy answer,
That's
though.
not.
That's a valid answer.
I have a lot of beautiful friends who are very artistic as well as me. So they inspire me a lot with their art, even though they're not miniature painters. I have a few that are like oil painters, which are crazy good. I couldn't dream of doing the stuff they do. um, Also, I love pinups. Pinups are really interesting, like just such a different style of art and things like burlesque I find really interesting. Their makeup is just insane. It's really beautiful.
It really is.
So I try to use some of the color schemes they would use in their makeup when I'm thinking about painting a face. I think going just like the subtle highlighting they do and their cheekbones and yeah, the way they sculpt themselves, they look like a doll. It's crazy. And I think it works really well for miniature painting, looking at their makeup, if that makes sense.
Oh, it no, it totally does. The last couple times I had to try to paint a face on a miniature, I started telling myself like just act like you're doing their makeup.
Hmm.
You
Yep.
know, like what color of makeup would you use? That's the color of paint.
Yeah, yes. I think I see a lot of people when they're doing eyes, they get a bit lost um, because eyes are so difficult. I haven't gotten a chance to do a bust or anything yet, but I would really like to just so I can like focus on the face more because that would be
Yes.
really fun to try and do something a bit more detailed.
I actually just discovered busts at Adepticon. I had never heard that term before until I heard people talking about doing a bust painting class. And I'm like, what is a bust? So I looked it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be so great to learn how to paint a face on.
You right? Yes, I totally agree. I think it would just make it easier scaling it down
Mm-hmm.
to learn what to do.
Yeah.
But just from my experience drawing portraits, I'd say things like eyes, they you can start off with lighter colors if you're doing something that you want to obviously look like she's wearing some makeup instead of just reaching for that black straight away when you're doing some eyeliner or some shadows around the eyes. Start off with a lighter brown. That's going to give you um, a more natural shadowy look than if you were to reach for black because we often don't have black shadows on our face. It's not
That's so
as
true.
common as we think it would be.
Yeah, they're usually pretty warm,
Yeah.
unless you're in a Robert Rodriguez movie.
Has there ever been a moment where you felt like you weren't heard in this hobby space because of your gender presentation?
I think I've I've been very lucky, and felt very welcomed into this community. And I know I've I have talked to a few people who have had those moments, um, but luckily I haven't. I've more than anything, I've put that kind of mindset on myself where I'm like, oh no, I am a woman in this hobby and there's not as many of us as there is men. What if someone says something? What if people don't think I'm a part of this community? You know,
Right.
especially not playing a game yet. There was one time where I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the local game store and I'm going to paint today. There was a little painting session with other miniature hobbyists, so I was quite excited and I actually did it and I went and it was really fun. But there
Good for
was,
you.
yeah, it was really good. There was a moment where I got quite nervous and uh, this guy sat across from me and he was looking at my painting. He picked, well, he didn't touch it because, that would be a bit, I don't know, some people would not care, but I would care if someone just came and grabbed my
Oh
miniature.
yeah. Never ever
Never,
grab
no.
somebody else's mini without asking.
No, no, but he was having a look. He didn't pick it up, but he had a look and he was like, "Oh, Sisters of Battle, that's really cool. I paint them as well." And then he mentioned something about the r- rules of my army, and he asked me a question, and I kind of sat there like, I have no idea what he just said to me. Oh no, he's gonna know. He's gonna know. I'm not really a miniature gamer. Like, I'm not really a tabletop gamer. And I just internally panicked and was like,
Oh,
actually, I've I've actually never played a game. And he was so kind about it. He was just like, oh, that's fine. That no worries. Actually, you have this rule for your army and it works like this. And I instantly felt so much better. Like, oh, it really doesn't matter that much. It's okay. Everyone does things at different speeds.
that's so great that he gave you that reaction and, you know, kind of settled your anxiety there with what his reaction might be, but that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really good to see, and it made me feel a lot more comfortable within the hobby. I instantly was just like, okay, that's fine. And then someone else pitched in who said like they hadn't played many games. We'd also been in the store before where they were holding a Age of Sigma tournament, and I didn't want to be rude. I was with my partner and we didn't want to like intrude on their tournaments or anything, but we kind of wanted to see everyone's painted armies on the table. So we were trying to like quietly walk around and have a look. And someone saw us and was like, oh, come over here, I'll teach you. Like, I'll show you how the game's played. And it was really cool that they instantly were like, no, if you have questions, like, please ask, and tried to get us involved. Which was, yeah, it was really nice because you never know how people are gonna react.
Very true. And that's cool that they were very open and inviting to you.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for it, honestly. It's made the process a lot easier getting into um, the world of miniatures and tabletop.
It's always good to have people who want to be ambassadors. That's um That's something I've always strived to be, and I have immense respect for anybody who has that extroverted gene and can invite people in and make them feel welcome like that.
Yes, it's quite scary, and I used to be so so awkward, so socially just would avoid it at all costs.
Right.
There would be no way I would have agreed to be on a podcast.
Well,
Um,
we're glad you did.
yeah, me too. I think one of my past jobs as a paint and sip teacher that really got me out of my shell. Um, Also, I learned to paint a bit through doing that, which was great. But yeah, it's hard to be socially awkward when you have to stand in front of 40 people and tell them how to paint something.
Very true. It's still possible.
Oh, it is. I definitely had some off days. But yeah, normally pretty good. Normally everyone was very nice to me, even when I stood in front of the class and was like, this painting's name is, oh, I forgot. Let me check my phone.
So, are there any YouTubers or streamers or podcasters that you listen to on the regularly?
Oh yes. Quite a few, but my favorite go-to YouTubers to watch is usually Miniac and Ninjon.
Okay.
I I love the way they paint. I feel like they also have a similar sense of humor to me. So I I get a lot of their jokes. I I like the way they talk about color theory. I find it really interesting, and I can relate to their painting styles a little bit.
Yeah, those are definitely good ones to check out if you need some painting guidance.
Yes, I'd say that they're more advanced hobbyists to watch. So if you're new getting into the hobby, of course you can still go watch them, but I wouldn't be like, why can't I paint like them? You know, why can't I do that technique as well as they can yet? It's because they've been doing this for such a long time and they're more display painters than your regular army painter.
All right, I think we're ready to get into some rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
So just first thing that pops in your head.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite line of paints to use?
AK Interactive.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
I have.
They're really smooth. I feel like they're quite approachable for any hobbyist as well. So, unlike things like Scale, um, which I think you need a bit more experience to use, or it takes a bit longer to get used to the paint, I think AK is just really easy to use.
All right, is there a paint color that you are always drawn to that is your favorite to use?
I'd say blue.
Okay. Do you have a preferred brush?
Oh, prefer brush. Uh, I actually prefer to use synthetic brushes more than my sable brushes, just because I'm not scared to mess them up. I'm very scared of my sable brushes. I don't want to wreck them.
Completely
Fair.
understandable.
Favorite game system models to paint?
Uh, Age of Sigma, I think, just for my Griffhounds, I'd say, my fun bees.
Coffee or tea?
Tea. I love tea.
What is your favorite thing about living in Australia?
The wildlife, I'd say. Wildlife, trees. Trees everywhere. And living in cities, you really don't realize how little trees there are about. which is strange. I love it. I love being just around nature constantly.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What is your favorite animal?
Oh, I love lemurs.
Lemurs.
I,
Okay.
yeah, they are my favorite. I got to hold one once at a zoo, and it was the best day of my
Oh,
life.
that's fantastic.
Aw. Do you prefer super glue or plastic glue?
Plastic glue. I I'm a little scared of super glue. I use it when I have to.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Definitely a night owl. Morning does not agree with me.
And finally, dogs or cats?
Cats. Definitely cats. I feel like my cat is listening, so I have to say
Well,
this, by the
yeah,
way.
you can't be disappointing the fur babies.
She'll know.
So I know you're still kind of new to the hobby and everything, and that you've been working on building up your Instagram. Where else can our listeners find you?
I have. I actually just reached 1,000 followers on Instagram recently, which feels very strange and very exciting.
That's awesome.
So, yeah,
Congrats.
I
Congratulations.
thank you. Um, it was quite shocking. So you can find me over on Instagram at painting orcs and things.
And it's a lovely site. Your stuff is great. Everybody needs to come check it
Mm-hmm.
out. So
Thank you.
you're very welcome. And Skye, thank you for joining us today. Just a reminder to everyone, the War Dolls is a community of geeky girls that are here to support and inspire one another. We can be found online at thewardolls.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Discord. The first three we're under at the War Dolls, and you can find the Discord link on our Instagram page.
And if you're interested in checking out the community, you can join us over on Discord, where you can chat and hang out with us every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time during our hobby hang.
And as always, if you have any questions for our guests or topics that you would like for us to discuss, you can message us on the Facebook account or the Instagram, or you can email us directly at thewardolls@gmail.com.
Support each other and be kind. We're so good at this.